Hey there, folks. Welcome back to FreepCast. I'm Rob Murray, here with Joe Spear, Free Press Managing Editor, as always. And we had some rough weather the other night, Joe, out where you live out in the sticks. Was it, did you get any trees down or anything?
No, it wasn't bad. We were threatened with the derecho. Is that how you say that? Derecho. Derecho, which is sustained high winds, right, for miles and miles and 80-mile-per-hour hurricane-type winds. And it got windy a little bit, but I was ready. I bought a new chainsaw. I was ready. Because when it happens, you're not going to get a chainsaw, and everybody's going to go buy them.
It's like a sump pump when it floods.
Yeah.
We all go to the rental store for a sump pump, and they're gone. So you have to.
But that was the reason we didn't get the storm. I bought a chainsaw.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. And the storm, the water was worse. A week ago when we got that I got 4.5 inches of rain at my house, and Mankato had 5 inches, and that was when it was really localized, and St. Peter had only like 1/100ths of an inch. And then a few days after that, we got 1.5 inches. So it's been wet. The lawn's wet. There's a lot of water. It's weird because it was pretty normal, I think, up till now. We were about average on year to date. And unlike last year, by the time that June storm hit, I had recorded 46 inches of water at our property. After that, there was a drought. So what can you say? But the storm, it was kind of a lot about nothing. I think east of here, Rochester, it sounds like. And we had Casey out, and we found the one tree that was down at our former reporter Brian Ojampa's house. Is a
Casey
big tree.
On the spot.
It was a big tree. It must have been diameter of, I don't know, 2 feet, a foot. It looked like it was really big. And but anyway, we got the one tree that got knocked down and got the story, and Brian talked to us about it, so that was cool.
Well, maybe Casey can submit that photo for the annual contest every year. Spot News.
Sure. A lot of other
stuff. Speaking of Casey, you speak Spanish, right? Derecho, that's Spanish for straight.
To the right.
And that derecha.
Straight line wins, because the straight line wins. That would make sense.
Anyway, that's our
storm.
Spanish lesson for the day.
Storm is always hot news to cover. When it happens, people care about it. We even asked people to put a story, photos on Facebook, and got hardly anything. So usually you get a regional something good thunder. That'd
be a first for the weather. Folks love to share their weather photos.
Yeah.
So it must not have been that bad around here.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Before that, though,
sponsor.
Hit the sponsor.
Yes. Podcast. Thank you. Sponsored by Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union, happily serving those who live, work, or do business in Blue Earth, Nicollet, LeSueur, Waseca, Brown, or Watonwan counties since 1934. We thank them for sponsoring this, and we're already a year more into it, and it's been very successful. I think it's building audience, so hopefully it's drawing attention to Minnesota Valley as well. But we had a lot of news, to talk about. We had our big first annual Greater Mankato Area Athletes of the Year, High School Athletes of the Year award ceremony last night at MSU. And this is something we put together, a magazine, by the way. If you want to pick one up, we have them down here at the office, but they were inserted in the Wednesday paper as well, all the winners. And it was kind of a unique thing we've done. It's been done in other cities, but Mankato, we have never done anything like this. And it was headed by our sports editor, Kevin Dudley, and he worked with the coaches and other people of interest. And we had two solid, fine sponsors in Orthopedic and Fracture Clinic and ISG, and it really turned out well. There was about 200 people that showed up, the families and friends of the winners, and the athletes were presented with their awards, and it was really a lot of people smiling going in there, and just a really smiley event, and people thanking us for doing it. And I think it's going to grow, and I think it's going to be really pretty cool. And a lot of great details went into this book, a lot of things about the winners and what their accomplishments were. Each sport had a athlete of the year. So like football had an athlete of the year, soccer had an athlete of the year. And then there were two prep athletes of the year all around athletes, one boy, one girl. And there was also coach of the year. So athlete of the year on the boys' side, Brogan Madsen was the winner. There was a tie for the girls' athlete of the year, Riley Hansen, Mankato East, Kylan Stangl, Mankato East. Brogan is Mankato East too. And the coach of the year was
Joe Madsen.
Joe Madsen,
Also
Mankato East.
An East sweep.
East did very well. Yes. And that's just the way, it happens year to year. These athletic things fluctuate up and down. For a long time, East would win in football, and they haven't won the West-East game for decades, I think. So, they go in cycles, and it's all about recognizing the athletes. And OFC Dr. Bodker gave a nice little talk about how what you learn on the field translates into life. And Steve Jameson, our publisher, it was kind of the MC, and he gave a nice talk about the importance of this. And so good event all around. I'm glad we did it. A lot of work went into it, but look for that to build next year. Did you ever go to banquets or award ceremonies in high school?
So the only one I remember is when I was a mite hockey player.
Really?
Because the coach made us these specialized trophies because there weren't you don't do anything in mites except show up to play.
Did you get participation trophy?
I got the Hustler Award.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like it.
Which I thought was cool at the time, and now I think maybe it was just the one that he couldn't figure out what to give me, so we just made something
best
up.
Defense, best offense.
It wasn't the best offense. I wasn't the MVP. It was the best hustler. I mean, he sure tries hard.
Mites, yeah. Well, that's cool. I don't remember big banquets or events, and certainly nothing like this where the whole city is involved and you select athlete of the year. That's kind of cool, and I think you can do it in smaller. Mankato's not a small place anymore, but smaller markets like this would have been hard to do in the Twin Cities, like where we played sports.
Although I think the Star Tribune does do an athlete.
They do something like that, don't they? Yeah. So that's cool.
I know that when we run these things, we post them on Facebook, they get about the most engagement of anything we put on there. People in this town love their local sports, and this is a great way to honor all these kids.
The Athlete of the Week profile would appear in every Tuesday paper, I think.
And that's where all these kind of come from, right?
That's where they come from.
Yeah.
We've been doing this throughout the year and keeping track of it. And, it was very popular. And you'd go and the kids would have 3,000 shares on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So an all-around really cool thing to do. And if you haven't seen it or heard about it or get the magazine, pick one up and check it out. We had a story in today's paper as well. With
some nice photos from Casey.
Yes, absolutely. Very joyful event. We had storms, and then we had a case of Feeding Our Future hit home a few weeks ago here. We finally had an indictment of someone locally, which was done on deadline. I think the U.S. attorney or somebody issues a news release at 4:00 in the afternoon. So
they're good at that. We
got that. If you missed that, you want to go back and check out our great journalism. Leah Call, our new reporter, did an in-depth piece this past Sunday on the emerald ash borer and its continued eating away at thousands of ash trees in our city. Do you have any ash trees?
I don't. The one we had, we cut down 15 years ago, but they're all over our neighborhood. And once I learned the early sign of the disease, I'm seeing it everywhere now.
Yeah. I have 5 ash trees that have it.
On your property?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm going to try to save a couple of them, but I got the estimate already for cutting the others down because if they're a third dying already, it's pretty much not able to save them. And it came on really fast this year. I kind of saw a few signs of it last year, but so that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. And in the city, the tree guy I talked to said he cut down 22 trees in the last week, so they are busy.
What are they getting for taking a tree down? What's the fee
It's
these
between
days?
$300 and $500
per tree.
per tree. Yeah, and then if they want to grind up the stump, that's another $50. That's intensive. Yeah.
No, leave the stump. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, run over it with the lawnmower a couple times. Interesting story. Cato Ballroom, the historic, iconic Cato Ballroom up for sale. Tanya Cords is looking for partners or someone to take over. I'd really love to see someone do something with that. It's a very cool building and cool place. One of the biggest ballrooms still left in Minnesota. Has a lot of history. Buddy Holly played there in the 50s. And I don't know, though. It looks like it'd be a big challenge to remodel that thing, and you'd have to really put some money in it. Or maybe you wouldn't have to do anything at all. I mean, it's still got a lot of, the wood floor and the dance floor and the stage. And I don't know if there'd have to be some infrastructure done. I think they did. I think when she bought it, she did some things.
I've been there pretty recently. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you need to do a lot of work. I don't know about the infrastructure if it needs to be updated for codes or anything. I don't know about that, but just being in there a few times, it looks it's pretty good.
It does look pretty cool, and it's big. It's spacious, and they've kind of got that area a step up where people can sit and have tables and things like that. I've been to a few plays there or music shows and dinner theater and stuff like that. So
when you go there, do you ever take the chance to go and sit in that bench where Buddy Holly sat?
I didn't know it was there. There's a Buddy Holly bench.
There's a part. It's not called that, but if you talk to Tanya, she'll show you where.
Really? No, this is the first I've heard of that.
Where they waited before they went out for their show. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If you read the history of that tour, that winter tour, I did a magazine article on that once. It was brutal because they were in a cold bus that had no heat, and so their fingers were freezing. And they would go from like Albert Lee to Duluth to Eau Claire to Mankato. It wasn't like in a succession. So I think they took the plane because they wanted to get to Fargo, right? And they didn't want to be cold anymore.
Yeah.
A sad thing, but the sacrifice those musicians, great musicians, put in, to bring their music around. It's kind of inspiring in a way, what they went through.
Somebody famous gave up their seat for, one of them was sick, Richie Valens or the Big Bopper. One of them was sick.
I think...
Was it Waylon Jennings?
I think the Big Bopper took the seat, didn't, because I think he died in the crash, but yeah, I think it was one of them. Man. Anyway, cool thing. I like to see Cato Ballroom do something. A story we'll definitely be watching. And again, if you missed it, you can subscribe to our great journalism, MankatoFreePress.com, and email readers service at MankatoFreePress.com, or you call 625-3764. There's a lot of stuff you might have missed. Interesting political news that our new reporter, Ethan Becker, got from the contesting, the Democrat who's challenging Brad Finstad, Republican in the 1st District. He outraised Finstad in quarter 2. Now, who knows what this leads to or what it means, but I think Jake Johnson is his name. I think he raised about $260,000, and Finstad was like at $230,000. So an interesting development. I think they were billing it as no one has ever outraised an incumbent like that in the past. So that'll be an interesting raise to watch. We're still 18 months out, but it's going to be kind of interesting.
It'd be interesting to see what Brad Finstad thinks about that, if he would call us back.
Yeah, numerous attempts that we make every time. I
just don't think he likes us.
Yeah. Well, he congratulated us on our awards last year.
Did he?
Yes. I sent a nice letter. It wasn't sent. He thought we were the Albert Lee paper, but the thought was there. Biggs.
I hadn't heard that one. It sounds good.
I think the letter's pinned on the bulletin board.
Oh, all right.
Another big story: City Council revising their public speech rules. I had to be careful to say restricting. I talked to Mark. Can the headline say restricting? Like, not really. So it's nuanced. But here's basic stuff going on. So first step in public speech revisions, the mayor or chairperson, in the case of planning commissioner, economic, is to remind attendees that they must follow, quote unquote, rules of decorum, and they to decline to let violators speak. So they have the power to say you can't talk. If that doesn't work, there's an escalating set of options that include recessing the meeting till order is restored. Person engaged in prohibited conduct can be ordered to leave, and if he or she doesn't, can be removed by law enforcement for trespassing. How do you feel about this?
I'm okay with them wanting to keep things focused and on task, not okay with them saying the cops are going to haul you out of there.
Yeah. Disruption, I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
I mean, if you're being if it's
unsafe,
clear you're going to be a problem and be unsafe for somebody, that's one thing.
And you're threatening.
But if you're just there and you insisting on saying what you want to say.
Yeah. I think there's going to have to be some judgment about these. And if order isn't restored by any of those measures, the meeting can be restarted virtually after some members have moved to remote locations. One member would stay in the council chambers, and the Zoom meeting would be shown on screens in the room for the public to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of this was prompted by I don't even want to call it a disruptive meeting where a bunch of people showed up and they had cardboard placards and they were all about the surveillance. They were against the new surveillance meetings, and they were loud enough at one point so you couldn't hear the council talking, and I don't know if they could hear themselves, but I know our reporter Mark had to get up real close. So is that disruption? It's
yes.
stopping them from doing their business.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what is that against the law? Is that a crime?
Well, it might be against the rules.
Might be against the rules, yeah. I don't know.
It's not a crime, but it's hard because you have to balance, right? Let them be respectful. We all, I think, can agree on that. Everyone should get their say because it is government. It's government by the people, right? So they should have their say.
Yeah.
Someone should have their say, one way or another. Influence your government. At the same time, I don't know if we've had enough examples where this is like, I don't know if it's systematic, where we have to create a new policy. I always try to look at things like, if you're going to change something, do a new policy, is there a systematic problem it's looking at?
Right.
Then, okay, it's not working. It hasn't worked for 6 months, and we're not getting anything done, and okay, we got to do something then. Mm-hmm. But one example, I don't know. Of course, what you throw in the environment of the political assassination of our legislator and her husband, and it creates a whole different environment. Scarier. Are people showing up who are speaking up, making you interpret them as being angrier than they are because of the environment? I don't know.
Do you think this all would have been avoided if they would have said, okay, I know we don't normally allow public comment at a work session, but because you're all here, clearly you all have something to say. Should we just let them, for today, say what they got to say?
That could have been a solution.
And they didn't let them talk, so they felt forced to make their voices heard.
Right.
I don't know.
So the Zoom meeting thing would be a way of diffusing it, I guess. The public could still watch. The new procedures were adopted unanimously without questions or comments from council members. But there was some debate about other changes to the handbook. For example, new protocols still allow public comment at the beginning of council meetings, but govern the comments in ways that are both more and less restrictive. Previous rule for 15-minute public forum at the beginning of each meeting allowed speakers to address matters not on the agenda, which was intended to allow people to bring up city issues that were of concern to them but were not being tackled during the meeting. And someone pointed out Blue Earth County board does not have a public comment period, and it's not required by state law for a governing body to have a public comment period. At the
Maybe
same
they
time,
should.
yeah. So anyway, they're kind of changing this as well. The new list of rules governing public comment are roughly 4 times longer, but they allow people to comment, quote, on any topic, even if on the agenda. The protocol also includes guidelines, quote unquote, that speakers, quote unquote, are encouraged to adhere to. They include putting questions in writing, if they want a follow-up response, choosing 1 or 2 spokespeople if a large group is sharing similar opinions. I always thought you tried to get on the agenda. You say, can't you call City Hall and our group wants to speak about this issue? Can we get on the agenda? Can't you just do that?
I don't know.
Because there's public hearings for certain things that they got to have public hearings for, zoning or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if that,
So your question is, can you just get on the agenda?
Yeah. Maybe it would have to, like the folks I remember who a lot of people, doctors and others came down to, voice their opinion on the no smoking ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was set for a hearing. So maybe they just can have some issues they're going to vote on an ordinance and city people will know this.
Yeah.
There's some that require hearings, public hearings.
I believe Robert's rules.
And others don't.
That the chairperson would approve the agenda, would bring items to the agenda. So it would maybe be a factor of convincing.
The chairperson could, you're saying, bring an item to the agenda. Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice to just know, and maybe we should do a story. How can you influence your government? County, city? What's the procedure? How tough is it?
That's a good idea.
Maybe we'll pursue that. But I like the discussion. I guess I'm not thrilled that nobody had any questions or had any discussion. Although Mike Levin and Mike McLaughlin did kind of question some of the. It says Councilmember Mike McLaughlin questioned the wisdom of trying to limit the subject matter. They can talk about Batman for 3 minutes, as far as I'm concerned, McLaughlin said. Councilman,
I like that comment, actually.
you like that? You
I
think?
do.
But what if Batman isn't relevant?
See, I fall back on if you're gonna let people say whatever they want.
Yeah.
If maybe they're gonna have something to say that's not relevant, like Batman, although that might be interesting. They might just want to bring an issue to their attention that is not on the agenda, not up for discussion, but is important to this person.
The city does have a line you can call in and mention things to them, like if you see something needs to be fixed, right? 311.
Yeah.
And I've never. Have you ever called it?
I haven't
No.
called it, but I think people also want to be able to speak to somebody face to face.
Yeah.
And that option should be there for them.
Yeah.
I think.
So lots to chew on there about that issue. Want to give another shout out to our sponsor, Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union. If you're getting anything out of this, support them. I have a quote of the week if we're ready for that.
Yeah.
It relates to this public discussion
All right.
on
Nice
public
segue.
speech. Council President Mike Levin, we're going to give him the spotlight this week. Same people might have thoughts to share about other levels of government and see council meetings as a venue to do that. Quote, people don't feel like they're being paid attention to and are looking for that chance.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening, folks. Want to remind you, you can get this great journalism by subscribing to the Free Press email, reader service at mankatofreepress.com. Call us, 625-3764, or just go to our website and click on our subscribe button.
Subscribe on YouTube.
And as Casey says, we're also on YouTube.
We're on YouTube, social media, Facebook.
As much as we prefer to be just listened to,
Yes.
you can watch this thing.
You can watch it on YouTube. And
Subscribe on YouTube.
you can subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe, and please do.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yes.
Yes.
So you get it automatically as the podcast. You can do it on Spotify and wherever you get podcasts. So again, thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you next time.